Hey everyone, I am your astrologer Brittany with Horoscope.com. Here are 3 things you need to know in order to make today, Sunday, February 10th, 2019, a success. Now the first thing I want to talk about is going to be right here where the moon is in Aries. When the moon's in Aries, it brings our attention to doing things, making things happen, initiating things, especially things that are close to us individually. Now what we've got going on today is a lot. Early this morning, perhaps while many of us are still sleeping, this moon in Aries is going to be in a square here with Pluto and Capricorn. This could bring up some very strong, intense feelings. Could be a little bit scary sometimes with Pluto involved. Or we could be a little bit scared or fearful. What this is going to be about is about where our life is going, the direction our life is going, and how we do things to get to the place that it is that we want. We could just be a little bit afraid or frustrated about what is to come in our lives and how we're moving on. I am encouraged, however, by another aspect that the moon is making at the same time. At the same time the moon is making the square to Pluto, it is making a sextile over here to the sun. So even though we could be feeling a little bit fearful and unsure of what to do next, how to do it, scared of what we could do, I do think there is part of us with this sextile to the sun that is starting to understand better what we need in order to see our future more clearly and what we need to do in order to create the life that it is that we want, that's starting to come in. Because this is not quite a first quarter moon, even though the moon's in a very active sign of Aries, we may not be quite ready to act just yet in the way that we need. That's really useful for us, but I think we're starting to get the insights now about what we need to do to move forward and how we can overcome some fears or deal with some fears in the process so that we can get to where we want to be. The next thing that's going to happen after that is going to be a few hours later now around lunchtime. What's going to happen around lunchtime? This moon's going to move further through Aries and it's going to square the nodal axis. There's the north node in Cancer and here's the south node in Capricorn. What this can then bring are choices about what to do to get the results that you want, to create a life that you want, to feel better all around about your life as well, that I think will be very, very important. I think the thing going on here, especially with this being not quite a first quarter moon yet, is to take steps forward. You have to do things. You have to make choices, especially choices without having all the answers yet, having more of the answers about where your life is going than you've ever had before, but maybe still not having all of them. And I think you still need to make choices, but start to make small ones, bit by bit, about what you need and what you want to do to get to where you need to be. And I think that's what's going to start to come in at noon. You need to do something, you need to act, and to not just let life pass you by, but make small choices bit by bit to help you move on. Now the next alignment that's going to happen after that is going to be a few hours later. At that time, the moon is then going to come into a conjunction here with Mars and Aries. That again could be a very active time. Maybe you make the decision to do something even if it's small, and then you start to move forward on it. I do want to just caution that the moon doesn't always like Mars. That's because sometimes Mars can bring very agitated feelings, feeling frustrated, feeling a little bit, I don't know if too emotional is the word, but sometimes we could be feeling a little aggressive, a little angry, wanting to fight as well, just because we may be feeling a little bit restless here. And I think it's good to do things, but do not get ahead of yourself at this time. Small steps that are more thought out is probably the better way to go. The next alignment that's going to happen after that, still after lunchtime, the moon's going to move further through Aries and come into a conjunction with Uranus. This again could have you feeling very frustrated, very restless, wanting to do things, wanting to break free from old situations. Could bring unexpected events up. You could do something unexpected, or someone else could do something unexpected, and needing to be very, very careful of that. The next thing that's going to happen after that, there's a lot going on with the moon today. Right after dinner time, this moon then is going to move into Taurus right here, and that's going to calm things down a bit after a very crazy day where people could be restless, doing unexpected things, not sure what to do, how to do it, frustrated. Finally, at nighttime, the moon moves into Taurus and says, okay, enough of all that. I'm glad that you took some small steps forward, even if you couldn't take some steps as big as you wanted to take them, but now it's time to stabilize, to be more confident with what you've done, and to figure out how to start to sustain this action in a good way that can get you what you need. After that happens, right before or around bedtime, this moon in Taurus is I'm going to make a sextile over here to Mercury, which just moved into Pisces, also helping you to understand better what you need emotionally in order to ground yourself and move forward in a more stable way, okay? So that was a lot going on, but the first message of today is you have to make choices. You have to do things to act on your vision of the future in order to create it, but don't overdo it and don't get frustrated if things aren't happening as quickly as you want. Take slow, small steps and then sustain that action and keep with it so that you can ultimately get to where you want to be. Now, the second thing I want to talk about is going to be Mercury entering the sign of Pisces today. I'll give you the good and the bad. That's because Mercury doesn't like to be in Pisces. So I'm going to give you the good and the bad of that. A lot of times I find planets that are in signs they don't like to be in do tend to manifest a little bit more challengingly at first. The good part about Mercury in Pisces is that it can make you very intuitive, tuning into your emotions as well. It can also make you very, very sensitive and compassionate in the way that you think and speak. The bad part of Mercury in Pisces is that it can make you a little bit too emotional when you speak. Instead of using logic, going with emotion, which can be hard. It could also make conversations, because there is a lot going on emotionally, spiritually, and intuitively, confusing. How do you talk about spiritual truths, emotional things in finite terms? It's very, very difficult. So there could be some challenges with conversations that could come up at this time and really for the next month or so while Mercury's here in Pisces going back and forth retrograde. And I think really needing to be careful of confusing conversations and needing to as well communicate and use more of your heart than your head at this time and use your intuition to see behind situations. Also a good time as well to be very compassionate to others if they are having trouble communicating. Now, the third and last thing I want to talk about, still this Mars-Uranus going on, happening. It's a big alignment here. Time to be your unique self, to figure out who you are uniquely and truly, and to not be afraid to shine your light into the world. It's not a time to play it small. It's not a time to play it safe. You got to be who it is you are always meant to be and fearlessly accept your uniqueness and go for it, because I think that's going to be the major key to unlock some major doors in your life if you are feeling frustrated and stuck. You got to figure out first, who are you uniquely, and go all in on that. So that is your daily planetary forecast for today. Thank you so much for watching. I'll talk to you tomorrow.